In English language, the definition of fluency varies widely, and for many, it is the ability that allows them to answer any question. Imagine how great it would be if you could answer any question that you get asked effectively and spontaneously, regardless of the complexity of the question, regardless of how complex or how difficult the question is. How great it would be if you could answer it in one go. If you are interested by this idea, then continue watching to this video, because in this video I'm going to share with you a 5 method consisting tip through which you will be able to answer any question regardless of how complex, how easy, or how challenging it is for you, depending on your current proficiency in English language. I am Shaheen, a student of English Honors Literature. Let's continue watching to this video and let's dive in. So the main reason why you may be struggling with answering any direct question in English language, it is not because you are not good enough in English language or because you are not fluent enough. Instead, it is mainly because you do not know as to how you can answer to that question effectively. Mainly because you do not know how you can organize your thoughts in a way that your response sounds more engaging and more compelling, and whenever someone listen to you responding to a question, it makes you sound like a native. So in most cases, whenever someone asks you what are your hobbies, most of the time your instant response is my hobbies are doing this, doing that, doing this, and that's all. You never try to provide additional information to that question, and therefore you do not sound like a more native, and your response just does not sound as good as you could have made it by adding additional information. So how would you do that? So instead of just mentioning your hobbies, you can also add additional information by telling the reason as to why you love following that specific hobby. So if for example someone asks me what are my hobbies, I would say my hobbies are reading books and traveling, because by following these hobbies I get the opportunity to explore the vibrant ambience and diversity of the world. So you see how I did not just answer the question, I did not just talk about the hobbies, my favorite hobbies that I am into and love to follow. Instead, I also added the reason as to why I love to follow them. What is the reason that makes me more inclined towards following them? Similarly, whenever someone asks you a question in English language, you do not just have to answer the question directly as it is the thing that I love doing, it is the thing that I love talking to, it is someone I love talking to. Instead, try to provide additional information. It may be the reason, it may be when, why, or in other words, whenever you answer a question in English language, make sure that your answer, your response should revolve around the 5 aspects. These 5 aspects. Firstly, why you love doing that thing, when you got into doing that thing, and what is that thing, uh, when did you do it, or maybe any additional information. It could be any. You do not necessarily need to fit into everything, you just need to make sure that you provide additional information. This way you not only sound more fluent and more compelling to the listener, but it also helps you to make a lasting impression on the listener. So in order to acquaint you with this method even more, so that you can gain clarity of how you can answer any question, I'm going to share a few more example sentences, example situation with you, so that it becomes more easier for you to get into this habit of answering any question in English language. So let's say the another question that you get asked is, what is your favorite book? Now, although you may have answered that my favorite book is this, let's say Atomic Habits. So although you may have answered it, but in order to sound more fluent and in order to sound make your response sound even more compelling, you might wanna add additional information to it by talking about why you love reading that book. So if for example someone asked me as to why I love reading, what is my favorite book, sorry, what is my favorite book, so I would say that my favorite book is Atomic Habit by James Clear. Because I am someone who is so much into self improvement stuff, and by reading that book, I get to know, I get deeper insights into how I can improve my personality and what are the things that I can implement into my personality to improve myself, to develop even more. So, see how easily I could answer this question. I just did not only mention my favorite book, instead I also answered as to why I love reading that book. So let's say the next question is, what was your dream when you were a child? So instead of just answering what was your dream, what you wanted to be as a child, try to add more information. Try to talk even more about it as to what was the position or what was the profession that you wanted to be, why you wanted to become it, and when you wanted to become. So let's say when someone asked you what was your dream when you were a child, so you might say that when I was a child I wanted to be a doctor so that I could heal the sick people in the world. As simple as that. You did not have to worry about as to how you could make it even more complex. You just have to make sure that you answer to the question and you try to add even more detail to it. So let's say the next question is, what is your favorite type of food? So instead of just mentioning the name of the food, you may as well try to answer even more about it. So you may as well say my favorite type of food is biryani because it tastes mouth watering, and I mostly get to eat it when there is a feast or whenever there is a small gathering in our home. So this is exactly how you may answer to any question simply by following five method, which is to add additional information about it. You do not necessarily need to talk about the reason, but you may also talk about when you got into when you did that thing, or why you did that thing, where you did that thing, when you got into it, or with whom you like to do it. These following these steps can literally ultimately help you to answer any question and save you from any situation.